Hey guys, welcome to a brand new episode of the Cosmic Barbecue with me, Matt in the Real World, Mikey J. Shields, and Jim Dammit of Dinosaur Pileup. What's up, guys?
What's up? How's
Good
it going?
afternoon.
What's up? What's up?
What is up?
Okay, so coming into this episode with a new sense of urgency because I'm starving.
Yeah.
And I haven't had any lunch. And I really
it's nearly
want to
3
go
o'clock.
It's nearly 3 o'clock, and I really want to get my chow on. So, and Mikey, you want to open up with food chat, which probably isn't going to help my situation at all. If anything, it's going to make it worse, way worse,
way worse. Yeah,
way worse.
But maybe this will give you some inspiration, for what to have for lunch.
Yeah,
I got the idea because last night I made some absolutely banging fish tacos, and it reminded me of eating those tacos in LA before our last LA show.
El Flamin'.
Was that the name of the food truck?
I think it was. Yeah, El Flamin' Taco.
Bro, how good were they? The Al Pastor.
Yep, that's the one. Al Pastor tacos are actually, I think, maybe my favorite food item ever. Maybe
because you went away to Tulum, right? And you basically feasted on Al Pastor tacos.
Yeah, we basically sort of found this hole in the wall place on the second night, and then went there every single night from there on out. Just like 7 or 8 nights in a row. Just went to that one place. So good, man.
That's so little... British of you, Jim, to be on holiday, find one nice place and be like, right, that's it.
Yeah, actually, Jesus Christ, yeah, it is.
I mean, didn't we do exactly the same thing in Japan with
basically,
with that
Oshi
place
ramen
in Tokyo? Yeah.
I take it back when I said about tacos. I don't think you can have a favorite food thing. That's impossible.
I love food so much. I don't know if I can have a favorite. I mean, obviously pizza is so high up on my list, but so is Mexican, so is Japanese food in general, because I love ramen so much, and sushi. So it's just like, you can have MVPs in your food gang.
Oh yeah, I like that.
You know,
yeah, that's good.
But maybe not just like a...
Dude, what was that ramen place that we went to in Japan that had like the dividers, and they served you like through a little curtain right in front of you?
Oh, dude, that was
so you just got served by a pair of hands, like
a pair of hands. Yeah, you didn't interact with anyone. You went in, you sit down in your own little solo booth, and there's like a list of stuff.
Yeah, like on a card, right? And you tick it off with a pencil or something.
Yeah, and you ticked what you wanted off on a pencil, like which type of noodles you wanted in your ramen, if you wanted like a double egg and extra noodles and all this stuff, and then you passed that, you put that under the little slidey bit or whatever, and then like 4 minutes later, this pair of hands just opened this little thing and gave you whatever you ordered. It's awesome. Yeah. It's so awesome.
That place was wicked. I can't remember
the name of that place.
But it's like weirdly kind of like intimate, the way you sit sort of shoulder to shoulder with total strangers, and then they had those kind of dividers that you could bring up so that if you didn't want to be shoulder to shoulder with your neighbor, you could just shut them off.
Yeah,
it's quite fitting for what's going on right now, as in like you can just be in your own little booth. I like that if you're there with other people though, you can open them up. That was quite nice. So you can make it more communal. I think it's called Ichiran. I think there's a few of them in Tokyo.
Yeah, there is a few of them.
Ichiran ramen.
Good memory, Mokul.
Was that a research goblin
Moki boy?
Who did that? Or...
No,
did you
that's
get a goblin
just
on
off the top of my head.
No way.
I ran out of cheese. He fucked off. So
he's fucking failed.
Do you remember that and the piggy ramen place in Tokyo?
Yeah, the piggy.
Piggy ramen. I love the piggy one. I like the piggy ramen place because it was just so low key. Like it was sort of just like you just sort of wandered in, and it was just like you sat on plastic tables, and just like 2 seconds later you got ramen. I love that eating culture. I don't know. I love the Japanese eating culture. it's rad. I also love the Japanese kind of culture of it's a lot more common to go out for food and drinks with friends instead of just going to the pub or whatever.
Yeah.
So you don't kind of go to the pub and just get leathered. You go to dinner with a whole group of people. You eat and then you have a couple of drinks or whatever. I don't know. I like that vibe.
I liked the
that's definitely
Shabu Shabu place.
More my thing. Yeah, Shabu Shabu was rad.
That was from Lost in Translation, right? That restaurant that we went to.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh,
they shot a scene of Lost in Translation in there.
For anybody who doesn't know what Shabu Shabu is, basically there's a big boiling pot of, is it water or broth?
I think it starts as water, and you add stuff to it, and the more that you use it to cook with, it
turns
into a broth. Yeah, so it gets more tasty as you go.
A broth.
Becomes a broth.
Becometh.
So it was quite. I remember it. I remember it was kind of confusing when we went in there, and I was like, "What is this? It's just a big pot of water,
bowl of water, and loads of raw food."
So, yeah,
might just dipped his hand in it immediately. I guess I put my hand in that.
This is boiling.
I guess we're just eating this boiling hand water.
Mike just scooping boiling water out with his hand. What are you doing?
Like, join in, guys. I think this is the etiquette.
It's delicious. Sorry.
But yeah, I think you order basically a bunch of vegetables or a bunch of like raw sliced meat that they bring over, and you put it in the water with your chopsticks, not with your hand. Cook it in the water. It's really delicate. It's absolutely delicious.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it really was amazing. Yeah, just ramen. Just any type of. If I lived in Japan, I'd eat ramen every day of my life for 3 meals: breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
I got obsessed with the ramen after Japan because I'd only had it a couple of times in the UK. It had never been really that good. And I remember coming back and being like, right, I need to find a really good ramen place. So I tried like Tonkotsu and Bone Daddies. They were like in London. They are good, but it's just not quite the same.
It isn't.
Yeah, apparently there's a restaurant called Canada Ya in
Yes.
I've heard of that one. Yeah.
Soho. Yeah, apparently that's the most legit, like fully legit Japanese ramen. I haven't actually been because there's always a queue at the door or whatever, although it used to be when I go past it.
I tried to go and there was a massive queue, so it must be
good.
When we're all allowed to leave our homes, let's go there.
Yeah,
we all need to go for dim sum to One Keys.
Oh yeah,
it's your favourite place, Matt.
Well, hold on. It's not my favourite place. I'm just fond of it because it's really cheap and it's it has a unique kind of serving style, which is just basically super kind of no bullshit. I mean, rude, basically. kind of. But that's the vibe in there, and I quite like that. I used to eat there a lot, like when I sort of first moved to London.
Yeah,
because it's very cheap and very quick. I used to eat there a lot. I mean, I haven't been there for ages now, really. And if we're really talking about food, which we are, I mean, I wouldn't probably put One Keys on my list of MVPs. It's kind of a different vibe.
Speaking of rude service, though, that totally reminds me of getting a cheesesteak in Philadelphia at Pat's King of Steaks.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
No,
what is it again?
Bullshit.
Whiz-wit,
I think.
Yeah,
Whiz-wit.
Yeah, you've really got to know what your pitch is going into that, because if you don't, you are.
I remember being
to the
like
slaughter.
practicing in the queue. Yeah, you've got to make sure that when you get to the front, you don't fuck it.
You literally only have to say like 2 words.
Yeah, I know, but
the amount of anxiety around those 2 words. Oh my god!
Yeah,
terrifying, freaking me out.
Because it was it Corey who took us there from Conditions, that's it.
Oh, this is pre-me, isn't it? I don't think I've ever been to Pat's. I think we went to Jimmy's the first time we all went to one.
Jimmy's was good.
Yeah.
That was
Tell
good.
us about Pat's. Enlighten me.
We were playing around the corner. Well, I say around the corner. We were playing at TLA in Philadelphia on South Street, and he was like, "Listen, if you want to have a cheesesteak, like I'll take you to the best one," because he was a native, right? He's from Philadelphia.
Yes, yeah. Corey, Corey's a nice dude, wasn't he? If you didn't know him, if you didn't know that Corey was a nice dude, you might have thought Corey would kill you. If you looked at him in the wrong way. No offense to Corey.
I could hear Matt weighing up. Like, should I say it in case I ever see him again?
I know. If Corey is listening to
what's
this,
his name,
like,
Corey?
obviously I mean that without offense. He was an absolutely lovely, lovely dude, but there was something about him that was just really intense.
Yeah, he had an edge.
He had a really intense edge about him. But he was a lovely dude, and like Mike said, out of the kindness of his own heart, as soon as we got to Philly, he was like, "I'm taking you for cheesesteaks." But I can remember me and Mike being like, "Oh, okay, cool." So let's see how this goes. This could be the last thing we ever eat.
We'll see you in a bit, guys. We hope.
Yeah, see you in a bit, or never, you know.
I just remember the walk being super long, because also on South Street there was that other one that had like a massive queue that looks kind of like an old diner, that sort of silver place. Was that Jimmy's?
Yeah,
that's Jimmy's, I think.
Yeah.
Yes,
and,
that's Jimmy's.
Yeah,
I'd probably go Pat's over Jimmy's.
Yeah, I agree. I liked Pat's. Pat's gets a bad rap though. If you look at like the best regarded Philly cheesesteaks, Pat's doesn't really do very well. That and Gino's the opposite. Yeah.
Really?
Damn. But yeah, it was a long old walk. It was fucking hot. And we got there, and he was like, "Yeah, by the way, they're really rude here. So if you don't know what you want, then they just won't serve you. They'll go to the next person." So like, God, sweet.
Yeah, it's fucking terrifying, dude. Like getting up to the counter and having like a fully old school cheese steak flipping legend, like behind the counter, old Philly native guy. You don't want to fuck with this dude. You go up and you're so nervous. You're like, Wizzy Wizzle? And they're like, get the fuck out of here. So
Wizzy Woo!
What? Wizzy Woo Woo! By the way, for anyone listening to us saying Wizzy Woo Woo and all that shit, I guess that must be really confusing.
Yeah.
There's a type of kind of squeezy cheese that is part of the cheesesteak.
It's like melted.
And it's like melted, yeah. And it's kind of through, I mean, guys, you probably know better than me, correct me if I'm wrong, through kind of just like local dialect, it's become with cheese is whiz wit, right?
No, so the whiz is cheese whiz, and the wit is with onions.
Oh, that's it, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
So you say whiz if you want the cheese, you say wit if you want the onions.
Yeah, so the wit is like... So if
you just wanted the cheese, would you just say whiz?
Yeah, just whiz.
So you wouldn't say anything else, you just
get to the front of the queue and just say whiz.
You get to... Whiz. That's it. That just feels so weird, right? Whiz. Whiz. You know,
hello
like,
there. I would like one cheesesteak, please, with some cheese and some onions. They'd be like, next. Get out of my face. Yeah. It's whiz where or whiz. Just fuck off.
Fuck off. Yeah, some good stuff. I mean, it's so crazy, isn't it? The plethora of delicious foods that we can get into in America, in Japan, all across Europe. You get into the UK, it's Greggs, baby. It's Greggs.
That's it.
It's Greggs. Everything else staple. Can fuck off. It's
There's
Greggs, baby.
When we're on the road, and you're driving for a while, and like you're passing a load of services. The holy grail is like a Starbucks, a Waitrose, and a Greggs.
Yeah. If you get the triple, oh my god. And you know, the excitement I get about hitting a Greggs. I mean, this is something really deep rooted on a really basic human level.
Primordial.
It's a primordial.
Primal. There we go.
It's
Primal.
a primal instinct, for the big G dog. And even if we've been driving 2 minutes, it's the thought is in my head. And if we're anywhere, if I see a sign for Greg's coming up, Ollie will have clocked it as well, and he knows.
Yeah, he knows.
I'm going to ask.
He's already factored in any Greg stops.
He's already indicated.
And it is a deep cut, a deep wound. If there is a Greg's available, and I'm like, Ollie, and Ollie's like, nope, no time or whatever. That is a really brutal slaying. Ollie, he'll be listening to this as well. If only he knew the hurt he was inflicting. It is a slaying, and I mean that in every sense of the word. Like,
what's your move? What's your move at Greg's?
I can guess this. I think
I know what your move is, but I want you
move?
to tell everybody. Yeah,
I'm all right, Jim. Have a go, but do not fuck this up. Don't fuck this up.
Okay.
Buddy.
Oh my god, the pressure. Well, I know it's a cup of tea, large. Leave the bag in.
Leave the bag in.
Is it a donut? It's got to be a donut.
Well, it used to be. Don't really eat sugar anymore, but it definitely used to be a donut, big time. So I'll give you that.
Sausage roll.
Well, I mean, okay, go on.
Veggie vegan sausage roll.
Veggie vegan? What are you going for here, buddy?
They went...
okay. Jesus. I mean, for someone that said he knew the order, I don't know if you knew anything. I don't know if you knew anything, Jim.
No, fucked it.
You fucked it. And I told you, do not fuck this.
Now, from now on tour, if ever you're like, Matt, I got your order, you'd be like, no, you haven't.
You haven't. You don't know it.
Well then.
I mean, I'm going straight in. I'm hitting a large cup of tea because I love tea. I love coffee. I mean, sure, I'm addicted to caffeine. And
what milk?
So I'll hit
milk
that tea.
Going?
Well, I don't drink cow's milk, so I go for a soya. I think Greg's only do a soya alternative. I mean, if it was up to me, I'd be hitting that oat milk, baby. But they don't do oat milk yet.
Yeah,
oat milk all day and forever. But Greg's don't do it. So,
did you once bring your own oat milk on tour?
I mean, I definitely. That sounds like something I would do. They do these little weird soy alternative things, so I get a whole bunch of those. I hit a vegan sausage roll. In fact, I'll probably hit 2 of those because
I was going to say, let's be real, let's be honest.
Yeah, I'll hit 2 of those because I'll bosh the first one immediately, and then the second one is a happy surprise for when I feel sad an hour later.
What? Like a snake.
Hit the first one like a shot.
Literally, if you can imagine someone just de-sleeving a sausage roll and then just forcing it, the whole thing in one. Oh. So that's gone. And then the second one is kind of like a happy surprise for when I feel sad half an hour later that I don't have any sausage rolls left.
Happy surprise, Boom, you've ordered it.
It's a happy surprise.
He lets himself get a bit sad.
I remember being in the queue on one of the last tours, and you'd clocked that there was only like 2 or 3, I think, vegan sausage rolls left, and there was about 4 people in front of you, and the panic. I could sense.
So real. So real. I can remember in the States where I used to eat like so much crap. I remember for a whole month or 5-week tour or something, I ate two donuts for breakfast every day.
Yeah, invariably from Dunkin'.
Every day.
Dunkin' was like the Greg's of that tour.
Oh God, I love Dunkin' so freaking much. Yeah, dude, hitting those D-nuts. Anyway, so Greg's forever, and all that good stuff.
Greg's forever.
Send us free stuff, Greg's. Send us free stuff.
yeah. Greg's CEO.
And it's always as well. It's always a Starbucks over a Costa. We're definitely a Starbucks band.
Oh yeah, dude, for real.
There's nothing more disappointing than when you've just set off on in the morning on a long drive going up north or somewhere, and the first like 2 or 3 services are just Costa. It's like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, it's so frustrating. And in the States, we hit I mean, the first thing we do as soon as we pull out of the hotel is hit a Starbucks. And a lot of people are like, a lot of coffee connoisseurs and stuff. I mean, listen, I fucking love coffee, and I'm so addicted to it. I love it so much. My first cup of coffee in the morning is my favorite thing. That's like one of my favorite points of every day. In fact, I love coffee so much that when I go to bed, often the last thing I think about is having coffee and breakfast in the morning. That's not even an exaggeration. Like, I get so excited about breakfast. I love breakfast so much that often the last thing I think about is breakfast the next morning. Sometimes I wish I could just fast forward the night, just like press fast forward, just wake up, boom, ready for breakfast. Yeah. I love it so much.
You at a hotel when they've got a buffet is quite interesting to watch. Just to see you peruse all of the options and go over it in your head and and get stoked on it all. Not have even a plate in your hand yet.
Oh yeah. You've got to do the inspection lap for sure. Don't even pick up the plate. Just get in there and take a lap. Just take a lap, buddy. You got time. So take a lap. Take it all in. What they got. What they're getting, what they run out of, and you just soak it all in. Then you make your decision, come back around, boom.
The heartbreak of when you find out breakfast is included at a hotel, and this only happens in America, and then you go down and it's like that awful selection of like pre-packaged cereal, a couple of muffins that are like stale, they've been out for ages.
The sausage patties.
Oh, I mean, the greasy little sausage patties.
Yeah, let's be real, because we've now done that so many times. I remember the first couple of years of US tours, we'd always hit, because often we're in Motel 6s and the real budget ones. Yeah, we'd always hit those. Yeah, but they have those weird, horrible patties that are something not
Some of the
good
Motel 6s do, yeah. Some of them
do. Yeah, and the rehydrated egg and...
right.
And we'd do it, and we'd always it would always make us sick, or we'd feel terrible, or we would just realize it was just bad. So often... Now, even if there's an option like that at one of those type of establishments, we won't hit it. But I'll always take the coffee.
Do you remember our love affair with Denny's? How we used to love going to Denny's and would hit up like a skillet or steak and eggs for breakfast. Ollie particularly loving the Santa Fe skillet.
Santa Fe, yeah.
Just talking about it for hours.
He really loves the Santa Fe.
How would you describe Denny's? It's like to people in the UK who don't know, it's like a sort of all day diner. It's like 24/7, isn't it?
It's like an all day diner breakfast, but it's like the budget family option.
But it's not cheap.
It's like Wimpy.
It's not cheap.
Is it like Wimpy?
No.
Is it kind of like Wimpy?
No, Wimpy's more burger, yeah.
Oh, is it? I thought that was kind of breakfast and stuff.
Are there even Wimpys still around?
There's one left.
Yeah, isn't it in like Southend or something?
It's somewhere like that, yeah.
Yeah, I remember playing a venue and it was like right near the... Anyway. Anyway, that was a boring story, Matt. Cheers.
Save that one for your dinner parties, bro.
Oh, Christ.
I feel like we used to go to Denny's so much, and then in the last run, or maybe the last two runs, Waffle House became...
we had a few experiences of Denny's where it was just a fucking ticking time bomb.
Yeah. It was a ticking time bomb. And then Chris Robine from Black Map was like, dudes, don't eat at Denny's. Like, what are you doing? And we're like, what? And he's like, no, like the guys making that food behind the wall, they don't care.
No, like, he was like, nobody goes to Denny's. You just end up there.
Yeah, and that is so true. That's so true.
He was like, the only fish they have on the menu is tilapia. He's like, what the fuck even is a tilapia? He's like, I'm pretty sure it's a made up fish.
I remember there was a couple of, because Denny's they're 24 hours.
Yeah.
And there was a couple of late, we had a couple of late finishes after some shows, and I remember a few, we hadn't eaten, there was nowhere to eat. And I remember a few on the last couple of tours, like late night, 2 a.m. Denny's meals. And that's quite a surreal experience because the clientele at Denny's at 2 a.m. is an odd bunch, you know. So I remember doing a couple of those, but then I started really getting into Waffle House, and I had a couple of solo, like when we got into the hotel fucking late, and like I have to eat a lot. If I don't eat a lot, like weight just drops off me, and I get worryingly thin. So I'm always eating loads. And I remember a couple of solo, very late night, kind of 2 a.m. vibes, me just sat at the counter at a Waffle House with a couple of the locals. And that was pretty interesting. It was quite.
The thing that
vibes
me out about Waffle House is that you can see like where they make all the food, and invariably they don't really clean it often. So where they make the waffles is just like thick with waffle batter all around where they make it, and like the fryers that look like they've never been cleaned. It looks like you're gonna contract something if you eat there. So it's just kind of
sometimes it's pretty gnarly. Sometimes it is pretty gnarly, but sometimes it's fine. But often it's gnarly.
I mean, that's what you can see at a fucking Waffle House. Imagine what's behind the scenes at a Denny's, man.
Right? You can see it at Waffle House. You can see it.
Yeah.
They're showing it to you. They're like, yeah, okay, we're not proud of it, but here it is. This is what you're getting.
We ain't got nothing to hide.
Yeah, we're not hiding it. At Denny's, it's behind the wall, bro. Anything could be. It could just be a couple of goblins in there just throwing whatever they want on, you know?
You have to go safe with a Denny's. Like, you've had a few cheeseburgers there that you thought were good there, Jim.
Yeah, I stopped doing the breakfast there because they were so dirty and horrible. And swapped it out for a totally healthy cheeseburger.
But you can't really fuck up a cheeseburger, can you? Like,
well, you'd think, hey? Yeah. No, I don't know. You can't fault Denny's for their cheeseburger. I won't.
We became quite good connoisseurs of the cheeseburger on a few of the US tours. What's your go-to? What's your favourite out of the ones we've tried? Five Guys.
Five Guys, man, all day.
Yeah, Five Guys.
So Five Guys is better than In-N-Out or Whataburger.
Well, I love In-N-Out, but they're different things. They're different things.
They are.
Don't you agree? Like,
yeah, I completely agree.
Like Five Guys is a really solid burger. That's a good burger, but it's quick and it's simple. Whereas In-N-Out, it's like a snack burger. It's like they're so little and
like a starter.
It's like a starter. Yeah. It's like a starter. It's a starter.
And do you know what? In-N-Out, fuck their fries. They're fucking terrible. They're cardboard fries.
Yeah, they're pretty terrible.
It's so funny as well because they're like they use fresh potatoes.
I know they claim that everything's like really fresh, so therefore it's like super good for you because they source everything from like local farms and stuff.
Yeah,
but those potatoes are shit.
Yeah, I mean I could do those little burgers all day though, all day.
Yeah, their burgers are
yeah, and it took me a while to learn, but the move is definitely not to go double and to go two singles, and that goes for both Five Guys and In-N-Out.
Yeah, on the Five Guys,
I don't know if I can handle two.
It's called a little cheeseburger. Yeah, which is misleading because you think, I don't want a little one, so you get the regular size burger, which is a enormous double patty. It's way too big. Go little.
Yeah.
Go little
Agreed.
Cheeseburger, baby.
Did you guys rate Chick-fil-A when we went?
Yeah, I remember thinking it was pretty good.
Yeah, I thought it was good. Matt, you had like a salad, didn't you?
I think I did.
So,
I mean,
I don't think
I could take it or leave it. I'm not going to lie.
I thought it was really good. I really liked their waffle fries. I thought they were fucking great. And good dips. It's all about the dips.
It's all about the
Careful
dips.
The dips, mate.
I don't really go for fried chicken very much. In fact, I think that Chick-fil-A was like the first time in at least a couple of years I'd had fried chicken.
Yeah, we don't often do fried chicken on tour, actually, ever.
Nah.
No,
I sort of cut it out years ago. Just stopped having it.
Our regular,
don't know why.
Our sort of go-to, if we're on tour and we get like a buyout, and because our rider usually consists of 2 rotisserie chickens and a load of food to go with it. So we're normally catered.
Yeah.
But if we get a decent buyout, our go-to is generally a Greek or like a Turkish restaurant where we'll have like shawarma chicken salad.
Yeah.
Or you love
salad, all of that.
Dude,
Vietnamese. Yeah. That's Vietnamese is.
I was going to say earlier. Oh, when you were talking about ramen, I was going to say like Vietnamese, what would you take ramen over Vietnamese pho?
I would take ramen over Vietnamese, but I do love a pho, man. And like I can remember so many times on the road where we're like feeling a bit crushed. It's maybe a long tour. We're like fatigued. It's like, cleanse me, like take me to a pho restaurant and like drink the broth. I don't know what it is. It just feels so like, I don't know, like cleansing,
like hearty,
big,
yeah, totally.
Broth, yeah.
But like, there's a method to that as well, because they're generally, if you're only getting like chicken and salad or like a soup, like a pho, it's not going to fuck with your gut. Not like a Taco Bell, for example, or for Jim, Chipotle.
Oh my God, yeah! Don't remind me. That still haunts me to this day. That moment. Oh, come to Chipotle, Jim. You'll love it. It's great.
I mean, I loved it.
I don't think I've ever had an issue with it myself.
You know, I haven't since then. It was just that first one. It took me years to come back from that.
You weren't into going back there. I love Chipotle for the size of because you always get a bowl there. That's definitely the move, because you get way more food for pretty much the same price. Matt always goes double meat. Always double meat.
Yeah.
And you can make it quite healthy, and you can obviously get it mild, so it won't fuck you up. Because the biggest danger on tour is eating anything with any kind of amount of spice in it on a show day.
Yeah. It's always risky.
Yeah, dude, always risky.
But I'm always pretty stoked, like you are with the Greggs. That's me with Chipotle. I'm like, fuck yes, here we go.
Yeah, me too, man. Because I get similarly stoked with Chipotle, because you're going to get a hearty meal. You're going to get a solid meal there. Yeah, and it's like so often that's all you just need that on the road. You're like, I just need to not be hungry and not be eating something fucking terrible right now.
Exactly. The annoying thing is with Chipotle is that they're often quite busy, and we're often in a rush. So the anxiety of being in the queue, looking back out at the van and just seeing Ollie,
sat in the front seat.
Anxiety of seeing Ollie. Oh God. Dude, there's a couple of specific times where we were really late and Ollie was stressed out, but we hadn't eaten. We needed to eat. Waiting in that queue for Chipotle, oh my God. Like, I don't even know if it was worth it for the anxiety, you know?
Yeah, I know.
Like,
you don't even enjoy
amount
it.
Of calories
spoils the food.
The amount of calories I burned just like worrying. Oh my God. So fucking stressful.
I was looking at some photos the other day, actually, and a photo from a time we were at Central in Memphis.
Central Barbecue. Fuck,
do you remember that? Central Barbecue, yeah, and we haven't mentioned any barbecue in this now.
Yeah, that's true.
We've had some awesome barbecue.
Central Barbecue was sick. That was the one near Ernestine Hazel's. Joe's Barbecue, the one in the gas station in Kansas that we tried to go to.
Oklahoma Joe's,
that's it. Which is in Kansas.
Yeah.
But, that place was wicked. We've had some bad barbecue as well. Normally when we try and get it like takeaway or whatever, doesn't travel so good.
What's that place in Detroit? Really weirdly. What was that opposite St Andrews Hall?
Sweetwater.
Sweetwater Tavern.
Yeah. That place is fucking great.
The ribs in that place.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Haven't we been there twice? And the first time was great. Second time was a bit meh, I think.
Was it? I don't know if I went the second time.
I think that's right. I think that was
I went the second time. I remember it being pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Damn good.
Damn good. What about wings?
I mean, we love a B-dubs, even though the quality of the food is highly questionable.
Oh, it's terrible.
It's more the vibe.
It's terrible.
It's more the vibe of being in like a big sports bar, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
it's not just terrible. It's also really expensive. I don't know why we do it.
And they put the calories next to the food. Like, no need for that. Don't make me feel guilty.
Yeah. I'm coming for wings because I'm being good.
I think sometimes we just do B-dubs because it's like it's a space to just sit on a big table. Everybody gets a big old light beer, and we just kind of decompress. Is it the best food? No.
Absolutely
the price is good? Not really.
No.
Is this place? Is the place we're hanging out in very nice? No, not particularly.
No.
Why? So It's
Why do we
more
insist?
where we just need to like decompress. You know what I would really love to be doing right now, this very second?
What?
I would love to be sat out the back of let's say a Motel 6, round the little circular plastic bench table thing.
They're always in like a sketchy area of the car park.
Yeah, with a couple of like natty lights or whatever. After a long day's drive with a show tomorrow, so we got the evening just to chill.
Yeah,
and it's the evening. It's kind of hot. We got some time. We'll get some sleep tonight, and we're all just kicking it with a couple of crispy boys, just hanging, decompressing. It's all about that decompression.
That's it. Those are some of the best moments on tour, especially when you throw in like an ordered pizza. So you have a few beers outside, and then you order a couple of pizzas, and then go to somebody's room and stick fucking Forensic Files on, or find a film to watch.
Yeah, there's definitely like a feeling of when you don't have a show that night, and you're lying in bed, and you're probably going to bed like a lot earlier than you usually would with a show, and you can sleep in till. Like, we got a late lobby call. That's another thing. That is another thing. A late lobby when Ollie's like... My sort of first two questions about where we're staying is always, is there breakfast? What time's lobby?
Yeah.
And when Ollie's like, there is breakfast and it's a late lobby, so we can sleep until checkout, like lobby call is at checkout, which is like 11 a.m. It's like, oh my God. The relief.
Yeah.
The relief. So, like, going to bed that night in a hotel, knowing that you can sleep in till checkout, then we just got a drive day or whatever. It's like, oh my God, yes. Like, so no anxiety.
Your worst is like getting in late, so it's probably about 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. 1, 2 o'clock.
No breakfast, and we're leaving at 6 anyway. So
yeah.
Or maybe even worse than that.
Yeah.
There is a really great breakfast, but we're leaving at 6 before they even start.
Yeah, they start at 6:30, but we're out at 15:15.
And then to like insult to injury, you're getting in at 2 a.m. so straight to bed. There's a brilliant breakfast, but you're missing it because you're leaving before it even opens, and you're also leaving to make a radio session at 9 a.m, having had 4 hours sleep. So you're gonna sound like a can of fucking tuna on the radio, and then you're gonna do that. And then you're going to go to a show crushed. Like, all of that. It's just like, oh my God, please.
Yeah. There's also going to be a live audience at the radio station.
Yeah, and you've got
there's a live audience. Yeah.
And there's going to be an hour of stand-up from you guys as well before you play. So that's sweet.
Yeah. And they're going to be looking at you wondering why you sound like a, broken cardboard box. Why do you sound so bad?
You were going to say
you were totally going back.
I was, yeah.
I don't know why you backed up.
I was trying to... Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why I backed up.
Just say it.
Do you remember the insane sushi that we had in Japan, in Osaka?
Was that the night that Soma took us out? Is that the one? Yes. Okay.
That was the night that I learned what sushi actually was as well. Because I was all about
real sushi.
Yeah, I was all about like, I love sushi, some like sashimi and some fish on rice, little bites. Yeah, I'm into all that. I really want to go try some really good sushi. So then our Japanese management were like, okay, yeah, if you want to try some sushi, we'll take you out. It was one of our first or second times over, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think I think Soma-san, who is the head of the label A Sketch,
the label out there,
he thought he'd treat us because we've been banging on about having some good sushi. So he books possibly one. I think it's like the second, regarded as like the second best sushi place in Japan or something ridiculous.
Yeah. So bear in mind, like, Soma-san is incredible. He loves us to bits, but he's also just the loveliest dude ever.
Yeah.
But he's also like he's like end of level boss type status. Like he's a big dog, So he's an end of level boss type vibe. So he's if he's taking you out to a nice restaurant, it's going to be like fucking off the chart nice. So like Mike said, he takes us to this. He takes us to this place. I think it's the second best sushi restaurant in Osaka, and the only reason he took us to that one was because he couldn't get us in the other one, the top one.
Right.
And the reason why he couldn't get us in these restaurants, I remember talking to him about this. He was pissed off. He was like really annoyed about it. And the reason why he couldn't get into the first restaurant, for a similar reason, it might have been difficult to get us into the second restaurant, which we went to, was because in these restaurants, there's only 7 seats. So you're in this, if you can imagine, like the restaurant that we ended up going to, you go to this like top floor of this building, and it's like, wow, we're going up like high. And then you walk into a couple of corridors. He's like, okay, this is kind of weird. And you eventually find yourself in this tiny room at the very top of this very tall building. And you're like, what? Like, this is a restaurant. Because obviously,
it's
I
like
guess
the world's smallest bar, isn't it? It's like...
Yeah, it's like absolutely tiny. And in one corner, there's the bar thing that the sushi chef is stood behind, cutting the sushi and everything, and you're literally sat around that bar, and there's like 7 seats. That's the whole restaurant. And Soma-san had been working with the chef
for weeks
on the menu for like for weeks. I think it was like a month or something. They'd been like discussing what they wanted to serve us and stuff, which is next level. And
well, because he said when he was speaking with the chef, he was like, when you go to a place like this and you have sushi and they have everything that's so fresh and so delicately prepared, he said it's like working out an orchestra, like a symphony or something, where there's rises and falls in like each course, and you have to have this delicate balance. What are you laughing at?
I'm laughing at the fact that this beautiful, delicate orchestra of taste,
where it's going,
was unleashed upon Mikey, and it did not play well.
Listen. I love fish. I do not love shellfish or anything other than just a nice simple piece of fish. I mean, I was brought up on fish fingers.
Yeah. Now, I mean, to talk about some of the fish, like, can you remember that the fatty tuna?
Dude, I've got a picture on my Instagram timeline that people might be able to look at. Of the chef really proudly presenting us this piece of tuna, which blew our minds. Like, it was massive. I mean,
that was the most incredible thing. Yeah. That was the most incredible thing.
That fatty tuna, like, melted.
Yeah, that was one of the most incredible things I've ever eaten. For sure. However, on the other end of the scale...
Well, that piece of fish came way too late, in my opinion.
Yep.
After the
opera had gone hideously downhill for me in the early stages. The symphony wasn't working out at all. One of the courses I remember being presented with was a boiled oyster.
A boiled oyster.
Oh, yeah.
That's the one that stuck in my mind, the boiled oyster. Because I was sat next to Mike.
I'm quite good with food.
Now,
and I really struggled with that.
Presentation.
Even I struggled with that.
The presentation at these places was incredible. Like, everything looked like a piece of art. Like, the chef had really considered every single part of it. And I remember one of them was it the boiled oyster? One of them being in like a box, and like you kind of opened it, and then was that the sea urchin?
Remember. I think that
I can't
remember. Yeah, that might have been the sea urchin. I remember the sea urchin was the fluffy, weird alien tongues that you ate were like beautifully yellow.
Yeah,
they were stunning they were stunning to look at, but it did look like 4 tiny alien tongues, like.
Yeah,
I think it's called I think it's called uni, and I think it's like actually a really like if you've got a developed palate or whatever, some of that bullshit. That it's supposed to be absolutely delicious, but this was served in seawater. Like,
yeah, it was pretty gnarly.
So I remember being confronted by a few of these early courses, being like, "The fuck is this, man? This isn't sushi. Where's the fucking fish?" And being like, right, if I'm gonna, because the restaurant was obviously so high end, and we were being taken out by our Japanese label, so there was a lot of pressure to enjoy the food, and I could tell.
And be polite,
Matt,
obviously.
Yeah. Oh yeah, of course. Matt had clocked me early on as well, because he knows that I don't necessarily like shellfish. So I'm there and I'm like, okay, the only way I'm going to get through this is to just plow through a bunch of beers so that my taste buds are slightly lessened and I can just get on with it, just sort of swallow stuff. Matt's looking at me, the Japanese crew are looking at Matt, who's looking at me, and then suddenly I feel all the attention on me. And I particularly remember it with the boiled oyster, because like every course now that came, everybody's looking at me to see how I was taking it. I remember picking up this boiled oyster, having a big swig of beer to prepare myself, putting it in my mouth, and the first chew was like I was chewing somebody else's phlegm. And
oh my god, I remember watching you, man.
It was like some sort of really soft paste that had one of the worst tastes, and I was chewing it. I was sort of going cold, and I remember like my panicked look around the table, trying to like gauge who's watching me.
By this point, I was like your coach.
Yeah,
I was like in it with you, man. Like trying to get you through it, and like you were. I saw you like put it in your mouth to begin the process, and I was like, oh,
I was
shit,
like,
this has gone south already. I could see the panic.
I was like, just swallow it, dude, just swallow it. I was like, my body physically wouldn't let me swallow it. It wasn't going to happen. And we were out there with Fitzy as well, who made no bones of the fact that he's like, yeah, not into it. And I think he had like, they prepared
chicken.
Him.
He had chicken, every single plate that we had bought out. He had.
I'm looking over at Fitzy like, bro, that looks so good. I'm eating this boiled oyster. And it wouldn't go down. So I was like, dude, I'm going to go and have to spit this out. Like, I can't do it. So I kind of put it to the side of my mouth, and I was like, I'm just going to need to use the loo. Ran to the toilet and
dude,
evacuate them.
I wonder how much that oyster cost.
I know. I feel terrible about
it. I reckon something.
I feel terrible about it.
Yeah. I mean, that was such an amazing evening, just for the being with our Japanese like crew. They're just such amazing people. Being in that restaurant, being lucky enough to be in that restaurant, like what an experience. But also from a sort of comic angle, just sort of going through that journey with you was just second to, I'll never forget that. It was second.
I remember every course as well. You would be like, let me just try it and I'll tell you how it is. I'll tell you if you can handle it.
Yeah.
And then one of them, I think it might have been the oyster, like, bro, you're not gonna like this, bro.
Because even I was like, whoa, that's quite intense. Yeah, I remember because I've eaten sea urchin before, but that sea urchin was next level. So it was the boiled oyster, and that sea urchin was like, holy shit. Yeah, that's
I remember
that's pretty full on.
I remember the squid as well. I hate squid, but I remember it was only a tiny bit of it, and it had been kind of seared with the knife. And when you put that in your mouth, it literally melted. That was unreal.
Oh, dude, it was that. Yeah, I remember that too. That was wild. I also remember a different time in Japan eating. I ate diced raw octopus, and that was unbelievable. Like, it was delicious. But that was quite a weird experience.
I just don't think we should be eating cephalopods, full stop. I don't think they're of this planet. I think they're aliens, and we shouldn't be eating them.
I do too. 100%. 100%. I think octopus is like octopuses? Octopi. Octopees? Let's say octopees. I think octopees crash landed here on a meteor.
I agree.
And they're just so wicked and gnarly. Like, you know, those videos of octopus on the seabed trying to escape the cameraman that's filming them, and they'll like scoot about, and then they'll find something that's really like sort of camouflage, and they'll just change color. Just their whole body will suddenly change, like just become exactly like what they're looking at. It's like that is fucked up. Like that is not of this earth.
Normal.
And the tiny little holes,
cuttlefish as well.
That they can fit through. Like they'll feel for it. Like that video of the one on the boat, it felt for like the tiniest little hole, and then the whole fucking thing went through it and escaped off the boat. You seen that video?
Yeah.
Insane.
It's just that. It's incredible. Like they can literally just morph their shape and they can morph their color. But it's not even like, oh, they see something green and they turn green. They'll see something like super complex and they'll be like, boom, like they look exactly like it.
I think that is cuttlefish, isn't it, Jim?
No, I think it is an octopus, and they can change the way they're like the texture of their skin and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, so they just look like a rock.
Yeah,
they just turn on into a rock.
Yeah,
cuttlefish are the ones with the wicked light displays on it.
Yeah,
yeah, they're mental.
Mm.
Yeah,
not
no fucking way.
Yeah,
for sure.
So I'm not eating it.
Nah.
I remember being in Osaka, and they said what were those little balls? Was it okonomiyaki?
Takoyaki.
Takoyaki.
Oh, takoyaki. They had like a little tiny bit of octopus in it.
Yeah. I remember you
warning about that.
Big time.
I had no warning about that.
Yeah, you really
no warning.
I think I did warn you about that, didn't I? I remember being in that restaurant.
You love them.
Yeah, I love takoyaki, and I remember you being like, okay, what's the vibe here? And I described it, and you wanted to try it, and I really wanted you to be down with it, but yeah, you were not. You loved the ball, you loved the outer shell, you loved the creaminess.
I mean,
when
give
you
me
hit that little rubbery guy in the middle. Oh no!
Why are you eating anything rubbery? Why?
Disaster strikes.
If you have a rubbery piece of chicken, you're like, this is wrong. I don't want it. So anything else of that texture, no, I don't want it. Don't like it. Don't leave it.
I like takoyaki, man.
Was okonomiyaki the little pancakes with the fish flakes?
Yeah. And the like Japanese mayonnaise all over.
Yeah,
that mayonnaise, man.
Japanese mayonnaise is next level.
Yes,
next level. I love Japanese food so much.
It is great.
So Mikey, does that satisfy your food chat urge? Has that sort of scratched that itch?
Yeah, that covers most of the notes that I'd had written down. Apart from a couple of things. I don't know if you were there. I don't remember who was with me. I think it was you, Jim, when we had Pizza Crunch in Glasgow.
Oh,
Pizza.
Yeah, that's wrong, isn't it?
Pizza Crunch. For anybody who doesn't know, Pizza Crunch is essentially think of like the worst kind of supermarket frozen pizza, like the cheapest kind you can find, that's got hardly any cheese on it, really thick doughy base. Batter it like you would a piece of fish and then deep fry it
and then eat it.
I mean, that is why is that a thing? Why is that a thing?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because
also
Scotland is gnarly.
Why is Scotland is gnarly? Like Glasgow is gnarly. Like, why is it that that's only in Glasgow? Like the fried Mars bars, the Pizza Crunch.
I've never done a fried Mars bar.
Why is that? I have actually. It's pretty wild.
What's it like? Just gooey.
But why is it's gooey as hell? Yeah, like really gooey. So it's like obviously the batter is like solid and crispy, and then you don't really know what to expect. But when you bite into it, it's like obviously the inside is all together, but it's completely.
It actually sounds
right. No. It actually wasn't terrible. I'm not gonna lie.
I guess like the saltiness of the batter mixed with the sweetness of the Mars bar. I mean, yeah, maybe I'll have one.
It's actually making me want one right now. Yes. God damn it! Fuck.
Yeah. I was gonna say, has any of this inspired you to go for anything for lunch?
I haven't had any lunch. Now I just want 4 fried Mars bars. Give me a fucking battered Mars bar. You're making me think about pizza.
Yeah.
But before we move on to pizza, why is that just in Scotland? Like, you can't get any of that stuff. I mean, is it just Scotland or is it just Glasgow?
I'm not sure. I wouldn't be surprised if it was. I wouldn't be surprised if it was just Glasgow, but I'm pretty sure it might be everywhere. I think maybe the weather turns you to such things. Like, yeah, this is good, but what if we just deep fried it?
Yeah, you're just like always so cold and fed up with that you're just like, fuck it, I'm gonna fry this and eat that.
Yeah.
Just your body's just like, I just don't even know what's going on. I'm just gonna fry this. I'm gonna fry my shoes.
I think I remember a chip shop in, I think it was in Glasgow, that advertised that they would fry anything if you brought it in.
Yeah.
It must be the weather, dude.
Yeah.
You're so cold. Your brain has been so cold for so many years that you're just like, I fucking don't know. I'm gonna fry this.
Yeah.
My coat. I'm frying my coat.
I saw one of those places.
I'm frying my big.
I saw one of those places
coat.
the first time I went to Scotland, and I took a cream egg in there.
Oh, that sounds good.
No,
it was.
That sounds
amazing.
good, actually.
That's awesome. I kind of want to do that now. Can we?
Deep fried.
Can we next time we go to Glasgow just take we each have to take an assortment of things that we're going to go and get fried.
Plectrums.
And then plectrums, like some of them can be edible, some of them can't be edible, but we're going to try and eat them all, even if they're not edible.
Here's one.
Phone.
What do you reckon deep fried Haribo is like?
Yeah,
Jim.
probably amazing.
Deep fried Haribo. Wouldn't that just turn into like molten sugar?
I don't know, maybe. Let's try
I'm going to fry my clothes and then wear them. like a fried suit.
Fried
Call me a
t-shirt.
fry man. Yeah, just like I'll take a change of clothes in my bag and I'll fry those clothes and then go to the bathroom of the establishment we're in and change into those clothes. And then I will forever be known as Fry Boy.
He's greasy.
And that's it. He's you can't catch him. He's a grease ball. Maybe that is my transition into my being my superhero. That's my superpower. A boy in a horrific frying experiment fries his clothes and becomes Fry Boy, and he has greasy powers.
You could have your own. You could have your own theme song, which you could actually just steal from Smash's phone. To fries his clothes.
Fries his clothes. Oh my god, that's it. Oh my god, that's the start of my show.
Yeah.
Greasy boy. He's a greasy boy. He's just greasing around. Grease ball.
He's delicious.
But, so that's what I'm going to do. Yeah, I'm going to fry my phone and then leave it in the batter, and I'll never be able to unlock my phone. I'll just have to try and guess the code through the fryness. You won't be able to see the screen, but you've got a phone that's covered in batter, so. Fuck you all.
You lost it there, dude. That was one too far.
I want to talk about pizza because we were talking about Pizza Crunch. I'm gonna say the best pizza I've ever had is Joe's in New York.
Fucking Joe's NYC, man. That pizza,
unbelievable.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
Just a cheese slice. I never knew just a cheese slice could be so fucking delicious.
Yeah,
that pizza. Yeah,
and that's how we've talked about this before. But that's how you test if a joint is legit. You go for the margarita. You test the margarita first, and if the margarita is unbelievable, then you've got a good pizza joint.
Yeah,
like we've had a lot of good, like Best Pizza. That was great. Remember that time we walked into oh my god! Remember that time where we landed in New York? We went to Brooklyn where we were staying in an Airbnb. I think that could have been the Rat Palace. I think
it was the Rat Palace.
Yeah, I think that was the Rat Palace.
Yeah. It was just around the corner from me.
Which doesn't bode well.
Just around the corner. Yeah, but we go to Best Pizza, and Best Pizza is pretty good.
It's great.
And I can't remember how the conversation started. We go in and there's one guy. Best Pizza is a small pizza joint. There's only a couple of little tables and chairs, so you mostly go in and take out, but you can just kind of kick it if you want to. And there's a guy in there just sat at one of the tables eating, and we're all kind of ordering and stuff. And we literally, to set the scene, we literally just landed. So we'd flown over from London. We landed in NYC JFK. We got into Brooklyn, dropped our bags, literally went around the corner to Best Pizza. So we're straight off the flight.
Yeah.
And we're there ordering, and this guy's like, oh, hey, like, where are you guys from? And we're like, we're from London. And He's like, "What are you doing here?" And we're like, "Oh, we're just starting a tour. We play in a band." He's like, "Oh, no way! Like, what band?" And we're like, "Dinosaur Pileup." And he just looks totally gobsmacked, and then just sings 11:11 at us.
Yeah.
He's like, 11:11, and we were like, "What
Yeah.
the fuck?" Like, what? Just landed. Pick a random pizza joint we've never gone in, go in, and the first guy we talked to in there is like a Dinosaur fan. It's fucking nuts. That was so
wicked.
crazy. Yeah,
Fucking surreal. Best Pizza was a
and then
really good place.
I mean, do we need to go into the explanation of the Rat Palace or
the Rat Palace? I love that it's just called
Rat Palace. The Rat Palace was an Airbnb that was staying in. I've got this brilliant photo somewhere. I wonder if I could pull this out. So it was an Airbnb. It wasn't great. Felt like pretty Brooklyn budget vibes.
Good location.
And
I remember it being like the hottest place.
Yeah, man.
We'd ever
yeah, it was
been.
hot. And I remember the beds were just kind of just mattresses all over the flat and just not great. I've got this brilliant photo. I was on a mattress on the floor, and Ollie's mattress was on the floor next to me. Like there was 2 mattresses in this room, and there was no bedding. So I've got this brilliant photo of Ollie. You know when Ollie's kind of so knackered and he just goes into the fetal position?
Yeah.
Which he does often. I've seen him in that position so many times. Well, I've got this picture. I came in, he was asleep. So I took this photo, and he is in the fetal position, asleep on this mattress in the shitty room on the floor, with his cardigan over him as his duvet.
Yeah, I remember that photo.
It's such a brutal photo.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I think at one point, how did we discover the rats? Why did it begin?
I can't totally remember. Wasn't it outside?
We were like smoking it was in the patio bit outside, and maybe a couple of you were having cigarettes or something.
Yeah.
Can't remember. And we suddenly heard this noise. We were like, "What? Hey, wait, what's that?"
Yeah.
And someone like stepped out into the patio thing. The patio, in my memory, this can't be right, but in my memory, the patio was full to the brim of black bin liners of trash or something.
It was, yeah. So that was the area right next to where the little foot bit went up, the little steps. And then wasn't it like right next to it, like where all that trash was? Wasn't it just teeming with rats?
Yeah. So we didn't notice it at first. We were like, "What's that?" And then someone stepped out into it or threw something into it, and literally the whole place exploded with rats, like running from bin liner to bin liner, like there was a secret cult of rats, like 50 rats that had just been rumbled, like having some sort of rat literally. Ceremony.
Like if they're like, if we're all like, still, nobody will realize we're here, and then they got disturbed, and then suddenly they were like, "Run!"
They were like, we're fucking rumbled, and they fucking bolted. Like rats were running past rats, like back and forth, just like. We were like, "What the fuck?" Like. So quick, we were like, "Shit!" Like, bail, get out of here.
Yeah,
there was so many of the fuckers. Yeah, crazy, man.
Not cool.
Rat Palace. I should fucking call the song Rat Palace. That's an awesome name.
Yeah,
maybe I should call. Well, maybe you should call the next record Rat Palace. That could be actually quite dope.
It would be quite good on t-shirts.
Yeah, it would look sick on t-shirts.
Yeah. Rat Palace.
I mean, it sounds Rat Palace sounds like a kind of thrash or like hardcore punk album.
Yeah,
but I'm down with that. It sounds fucking rad. It doesn't. I mean, we don't have to make a thrash or hardcore punk album. We can still call it Rat Palace. I'm down.
We'll just have the spirit, the Rat Palace spirit.
Yeah. I'm down with that. Maybe. Hey, who knows? Have people listening to it? Maybe this is where that began. Who knows? Be quite a good story as well, because they'll be like, "So why did you call the new album Rat Palace?" And we're like, "Well, because of that time."
Well, we'd done Celebrity Mansions, and then we thought, well, Rat Palace.
I like that. We've done Celebrity Mansions, and we were, just being real about it. So, one with Rat Palace.
All right. I think I need to get out of this fucking cave. I feel like I'm in my own rat palace.
I'm too hot.
Yeah,
I'm so hungry, man. I'm going to go and eat 4 fried Mars bars.
Nice.
Yeah, do it.
All right, guys. Hope you all enjoyed this, and we'll talk to you. We'll talk to you later.
Till next week. Bye.
Peace.
Later, bros.